Hi, this is David again, and I wanted to make a video that's kind of personal. I'm getting some responses on my videos, and there's one that just kind of was very heart-wrenching. It came from illegal player, and he indicated that he had a mixed racial background, and how he's been treated in the Mormon church. And I just wanted to be some kind of a voice of reason, perhaps, and sympathy and empathy and compassion. Obviously, from the camera, you can see I was born white and delightsome. What a negative and what a heart-wrenching statement that is out of the Book of Mormon. When you read the Book of Mormon, the hatred of the history of the Mormon Church is so clear, so clear. Dark-skinned people turned white when they believed in the gospel. I've said before in another video, for people's skin to turn white because of a religion is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard or read. The Book of Mormon is full of hatred of dark-skinned people, and the Mormon Church is full of hatred for dark-skinned people, black people, and people of other origins. Mormonism is a very closed, Aryan, white society. They certainly want to take the black and the brown skin money, but they certainly don't want to give the civil rights and the respect and the dignity to these families and to these individuals. And I just wanted to be a voice that, yeah, I'm old, and I'm 63, 64 in a month or two. And certainly when I was growing up, racial comments and racial discrimination was rampant. I never participated in it. I never was a person that hated. Just because a man or a woman is coming from a different part of the world, they're still a man or a woman. And they should have all the dignity, all the rights, and all of the compassion and love of all mankind. There's been contributions by people that are of darker skin and darker race to the world in general, and the white man forgets that. And the white man has a tendency to be arrogant and to conquer. I don't know. I'm many times ashamed of being white. We conquered the Indians and pushed them off of their land. We conquered the Mexicans and pushed them off of their land in California. And we certainly enslaved the blacks by going to Africa and bringing them back as slaves and treating them like crap. I'm sometimes just very ashamed of the Aryan society, the way we have used and abused people that generally are from other races and generally very gentle, that they don't rise up in war like the white man does. Now let me be personal. I went to the Philippines, and I'm fairly familiar with their culture and their history and their plight today as a third world country. When I saw the poverty and when I saw the hopelessness of the Philippines, I can't change that, but I can change 3 lives. And so I married a dark-skinned woman, and I adopted 2 beautiful dark-skinned Filipino girls. So I know what I'm talking about. I know the discrimination. Living in Utah, the white Aryan people push their kids right along. They are in the college classes, in the junior high and high school, and the teachers certainly can identify who is Mormon and who is going on to higher education. I have had to fight day and night for equality. And I've done that my whole life. This is not a new part. I've worked in residential treatment centers my whole life, where large parts of the population are the Aryan people pushing the darker skinned people off of the educational chart and branding them with inappropriate names and behaviors. And so I've worked with people of other races all of my life, and found it a pleasure, and found it mostly colorblind. I have fought for my darker skinned children, and when they came to this country, they came from the Philippines, and they were taught in their culture, as all Filipinos are, that the white man is the superior race on the earth, and if you can marry one or have a child with one, you're going to move up in social strata. And the moment I heard that with my kids, I went berserk. I went berserk on the kids, and I told them, I said, you do not see color in this country. This is a free country, and it's America. And I don't ever want to hear your comments that you're somehow inferior, or that the white man or the white kids you go to school with are smarter or better. I expect you both to go to college. I expect you both to be kind people. Your father is an atheist, but I do believe in the principles that have been espoused of kindness and loyalty, and not killing, and not having adultery. And I train that very heavily into my children. I have never heard a word since about race. I've never heard a word since. They go to school. My 7th grader is extremely popular. She has been taught, and I'm proud of that. I feel that I am making a difference in this world, that basically you don't care if someone is fat or skinny, or that they're from another race, or that they're rich or they're poor. You judge your friendship based upon the way they treat you. And my 7th grader has a friend that's a Tongan. She has a friend that is black. She has a friend that is 350 pounds, and she's 6 foot tall. And she has other friends. Some of them are Aryan, and some of them are of mixed races and different cultures throughout the world. So I'm proud to be white in that sense, that we don't see color in the United States. The Mormons, they will say with their lips, you are equal, and please give us your money. But when you go to class, or when you see a person trying to get, or not trying to get, but being promoted up to the gospel doctrine teacher, or the president of the elders quorum, etc., you don't see brown skin and black people moving up that. And when you look at the Tabernacle Choir, I think they hire 2 guys to sit in there that are black and just give them a little salary. I don't think they even sing, and the camera is on them more than 50% of the time, and they're probably less than 1/2% of the choir. So the Mormon Church is trying to put forward that they're not racist. Brigham Young did say that basically if you have a child with a black person, that you kill the family, including the children. You have Joseph Smith making the same kinds of outrageous comments. And even though it was the signs of the time, they should have been leaders. They should have been better men. They should have been better men. If I, as an ordinary man, can be kind, loving, and compassionate, no matter what the climate is in the country, how come a prophet can't? How come a prophet who's speaking to Jesus, who probably has a brown skin, if you believe in Jesus, he was a Jew, and he may have appeared in a skull cap and an apron. This arrogant attitude of the superior race, I have found that the Aryan people, white people, are extremely good technologically. They go to the moon. They have a lot of classes in, advanced math classes and engineering, etc. Well, that's a wonderful thing. But you know what I found? I have found those Filipino families and the brown-skinned families. I have a daughter-in-law who's from Argentina. I have a son-in-law who is from Ecuador. And they have many of my grandchildren. And they are some of the most kind and loving and family closeness I've ever seen. The white man can't even compare to it. Those families that live together and work together and who support each other and loan each other money and food. Americans aren't like that. And the white Aryan race is not like that. It's one for one, and it's not a group effort in helping our brethren, black or white, receive equal justice. Look at the unemployment rates in the United States. Can that say more to you about white people being employed and whites hiring whites? I, way back in the 60s, was one of the few people that hired black people equally. It didn't matter if they were black, if they were qualified. They were accepted by me, and they were promoted by me. That wasn't popular in the 60s. In the 60s, there were still, I drove down through the Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and through the South when I was about 17 years old. And I never saw such poverty in my life except in the Philippines. I saw mile after mile and state after state of little houses that were up on stilts, shacks that were built of poor materials, cardboard, tarps, and 3 or 4 little black kids that were sitting outside and playing in the swamp, and an older black woman sitting on the porch. And I saw this as I was traveling through the South, and I pulled into a gas station and filled up. I had Utah plates on my car at that time, and a black man served me, and I came into his establishment with my credit card and handed it to him, and he filled out the information and then said to me, asked me, "What state are you from?" I said, "The state of Utah." And he looked at me in absolute seriousness and said, "There ain't no state, Utah. What state are you from?" I said, "Utah. It's a state in the United States." And he looked over at 2 or 3 of his black friends that happened to be sitting there in the establishment, and he says, "Is there any state, Utah?" And they all said, "No, we never heard of no state, Utah." Finally, I told him, "Go out and look on the plate of the car." He says, "I'll be damned, there is a state, Utah." Now, the reason I tell that story is because I have seen the separate but equal education. I've seen George Wallace stand in front of the school, not letting the black kids who were qualified come in. I've seen the hosing, the fire hosing, and beating with sticks and tear gas against black people in the 60s who were just simply demonstrating. They weren't rioting, they weren't causing chaos or confusion in the cities. They were simply marching. And I knew of and watched Dr. Martin Luther King. I have tremendous respect for him and his speech, of course. So what I'm saying is this. I was just an ordinary man from an ordinary family. But I wasn't taught discrimination, and I wasn't taught that these people were inferior. And with my own brain, to go to someone's tribe and pick them up and split the families and sell the people, our Mason heritage, and George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and other people owning slaves, what does this say about America? And then when you take it into the Mormon church, they just exacerbate the situation. They feel that they have a right to look down on these people, not promote them, and to feel superior. I just want to say that I've worked and I've hired dark-skinned people, and I found them to be excellent workers, honest, and educated. Every time I saw a resume that came into me from New York University, I basically believed the person was probably black. Didn't make any difference. I looked at the skill and looked at the major and the minor, and then brought the person in and interviewed them fairly. And if they had the qualifications, I hired them. I had a friend that was married to a white girl in the 60s, and boy, I'm telling you, you did that in the 60s, you could be beat up, and your family could be beat up or kidnapped in America, not in the Philippines, in America. And I went over to his house several times, he to mine, and brought his family, and I didn't see a great big difference. I have a son today who's in his 30s, and of course I taught my kids the way I believed, and his best friend is black, and he's in his, like I said, the 30s, 35 years old. So you people who